What's up, Starcraft fans? Blizzard recently made a post regarding some Abathur changes. Now, I thought it might be a good idea to bring these up to you now because Abathur is one of the strongest commanders in the game right now. In fact, he's probably top 3 among all commanders. But the way he plays relies heavily on toxic nests and his ultimate evolutions. And this post by Blizzard specifically deals with the that playstyle because apparently it's too strong, so they're scaling it back a bit. And the point of this video primarily is to show you that you should, if you know at all how to use Abathur, if you have mastery level 90 and you have Abathur, you should farm him now while you still can. Let's get straight to the changes. So first, biomass pickups will now merge together when less than 4 distance apart, up from 1.9. So this is actually a good thing. This will help players pick up biomass since they will now merge together, so they'll be slightly easier to collect. Actually, they'll be a lot easier to collect. So you'll spend less time shift clicking all those biomass pickups when they're far apart. Yeah, we considered many options to improve the quality of life associated with picking up biomass. After this change, players will hopefully be able to spend less time picking up biomass and more actually utilizing their high biomass units. This is good. I like this change. This makes life easier. Biomass now drops at a base rate of 5 per supply, up from 4 per supply on casual and normal difficulty. So this is good. For lower difficulties, there are fewer enemies, which makes it a bit harder to get your ultimate evolutions. With this change, 5 per supply, 5 biomass per supply, up from 4 per supply, is a 20% change. So it'll be 20% faster. If you play on casual or normal difficulty, it'll be 20% faster for you to get your ultimate evolutions. Biomass now drops at the base rate of 4 per supply, up from 3 per supply on hard difficulty. So this is good. Yeah, the same as for casual and normal, but this is actually 25%, or this is 33% more. This is even better. This is even higher than for casual and normal. This is 20%. This is 33%. And finally here, biomass drops at a base rate of 2.5 per supply, up from 2 per supply. So this is once again 20%. So a bit inconsistent here. This one is 33%, while these two are both 20%. Yeah, I'm sure they have their reasons. Abathur's level 3 talent, Virulent Nests, now allows toxic nests to drop 50% additional biomass. This is great! Wait, no. This is down from 100%. Wait, no, this is terrible actually. Yeah, this nerf will mean that it's a lot harder now for Abathur's toxic nests to get you a lot of biomass. Now, the playstyle before, the current playstyle is to draw ground units into your toxic nests to get more biomass. This actually makes it easier for Abathur to get biomass when soloing a map, rather than with an ally, because allies tend to kill enemies before they wander into toxic nests, whereas if you're playing solo, you can actually draw them into your toxic nests a bit easier. This set of changes is aimed at mitigating Abathur's potential over-reliance on toxic nests to ramp up his power. Yep. One consistent piece of feedback we've received is that in order to gain biomass, you must be able to predict enemy attack patterns, which can be difficult for newer players. This is fair. This is a fair assessment. In addition, players often complain about allies killing enemies before they can trigger toxic nests because they're not familiar with how the mechanic works. This is also fair. Finally, we think that toxic nests in their current form give players who are able to place them perfectly too much of an early power spike in their ramp-up process, given that these players are often able to complete missions with ultimate evolutions alone. Yeah, I'll actually show later on how this works. This is Blizzard's biggest concern. Basically, they're saying that toxic nests and ultimate evolutions are too powerful. After these changes, most players in most games will receive more biomass than before. That means, what they mean by this is that it'll be easier for lesser skilled players to get biomass. But the higher level players will have a bit of a harder time collecting biomass because they can't do the toxic nests dance. Yeah, so it'll be a bit harder for Abathur to get bio. He'll still get more biomass. It's 50% more when you draw them into toxic nests, but not 100%. So you'll need to wait for some time before you can get your first ultimate evolutions. This one is something they're wanting to try out. Tunneling claws cost decreased from 150 to 100. This means 150 from 150 minerals and 150 gas to 100 minerals and 100 gas. Same for adaptive playing research. They're decreasing all of these. So these changes will save you about 150 gas, which is actually pretty important because Abathur relies on his gas to produce his high power units. And they're also improving the roach armor, increased from 3 to 6. Roaches are Abathur's cheap frontline units, and one of their defining characteristics is that they cost no gas. Unfortunately, their upgrades are a bit expensive and lackluster, so we're making a few minor tweaks in this department. So what they're hoping to do is to improve the roach, and make it cheaper to get upgrades. Here's another one. Roaches now gain an armor per point of biomass, up to a maximum of 5 additional armor with 100 biomass. Okay, so roaches can get up to 6 armor with adaptive plating, plus 5 armor, up to 11 stacks of armor. This will make them extremely hard to kill because not all units can deal 11 damage. For example, the Zealot deals 16 damage, but the regular Zealot deals 8 times 2, which means regular Zealots won't be able to damage 100 biomass roaches. This is actually beneficial when engaging because, yeah, the only things I can think of at the moment that deal more than 11 damage per shot are siege tanks, I guess, Dark Templar, Dragoons maybe when they are upgraded. Yeah, so this will make the roach last longer in fights. We didn't want players to feel like picking up biomass with their roaches is a waste. This buff gives players more of an incentive to ration biomass to their roaches and reinforce their defensive role. See, the thing is, yeah, this upgrade will improve the roach. However, it's still not enough to make me want to build more roaches because in co-op, it's usually better to kill enemies faster than to make the fights last longer because the fights in co-op need to be fast because you often need to rush to the next objective location, need to defend the next point. So you don't want units that have high health and low damage output. You want units with more damage output, and the roach, well, these changes will make them last longer. Ultimately, they still have very low damage output. I mean, you can keep them in front and you can have other units behind them, but I guess as a mineral sink, you can use roaches better, but I don't know. I probably still won't make too many of them. Maybe 5 at the most. Just to tank damage, maybe. I'll have to see when the patch comes out. But for now, I still don't see you having roaches in your main army since, yeah, they still don't deal a lot of damage. Ravager. Biomass picked up by Ravagers will now decrease the cooldown of Corrosive Bile up to 50% at 100 biomass. Ravager Corrosive Bile range increased from 9 to 12. Likewise, we wanted players to feel more rewarded for picking up biomass with Ravagers, so we're allowing the cooldown of Corrosive Bile to scale with biomass pickups, similar to how Abathur Stormhosts currently scale with their Locust ability. We will also be increasing the casting range of Corrosive Bile because Ravagers in co-op tend to trip over each other quite often. This is a good change. This will... Yeah, I tried to do Ravagers before, but I found that they're a bit lackluster. But I think 12 range isn't quite enough. When co-op really wants players to use units, they go over the top. For example, Siege Tanks of Stukov have 18 range, and the Bile Launchers of Zagara have 20 range. So I think 12 is good, but something like 15, something greater than their vision range will really allow players to mass Ravagers, because 12, I don't know, some may still trip over each other, but if this increases to something like 15, this will really allow players to mass Roaches, because they won't trip over each other at all. In fact, you can have them stand behind your allies' army and deal damage from a safe distance. And yeah, the cooldown upgrade is nice, but 100 biomass is a lot to collect. You won't have a lot of 100 biomass Ravagers, so this will probably not be too great too impactful. I mean, I'll still probably want to prioritize ultimate evolutions, especially Leviathans, I think, because they are harder to kill. And yeah, since Blizzard wants us to make more Roaches and more Ravagers, there'll be less biomass to spread out between them, so you won't get a lot of units. So let's move on to masteries. Symbiote ability cooldown mastery replaced with Symbiote ability improvement mastery. The new mastery increases the damage dealt and absorbed by Abathur's symbiote ability by 3.33% per point, up to a maximum of 100%. Double biomass chance increased from 0.5% to 1% per point. So yes, they're increasing these masteries because, or they're decreasing this mastery because it was this first one is way too obvious. All high level players pick this mastery because it's obviously the better one. This new mastery increases damage dealt and absorbed. Yeah, this will increase the damage dealt and absorbed, but not the cooldown. The cooldown is more important because if you've seen how Abathur's symbiotes work, they're like machine guns, and they deal so much damage. And this one, double biomass chance mastery, well, basically no one uses this because it's way better. It's way better to have the symbiote cooldown. Let's read the description. Abathur is designed to be the evolution master. He's meant to grow in power as the match goes on. True to his name, he does indeed have one of the most powerful late-game armies among all commanders. That said, with full points in the symbiote ability cooldown mastery, he can also potentially one of the most powerful early-game armies, and this is something we've always seen as an issue. So apparently they've always seen that as an issue, because yeah, high-level players can get their ultimate evolutions early on, and yeah, this gives them a lot of power. This newly designed mastery will improve Abathur's symbiotes by approximately 100% versus the previous mastery's approximately 150%. So this is a 33% nerf. If you calculate it, the symbiotes will have more damage, but they will attack way slower. In addition, the new master will scale more linearly, which could lead to situations where you might not want to go all in on it. Yeah, I'll have to wait for the changes to go live in order to make a full assessment on it. Meanwhile, the double biomass chance mastery was looking a bit weak, so we're increasing numbers there a bit. Yeah, this one will allow players to get more biomass for Abathur, but I don't know. For me to use double biomass chance, this gives a 30% increase, but to prioritize that over a 100% increase, I don't know, man. Maybe bump this up to 50%. Bump this up to 50% chance for me to consider it, because right now it's still, I don't know, 30% is still not enough for me to forego a 100% symbiote buff. Anyway, let's go to the next one. This one is big. Abathur's toxic nest damage and respawn chance mastery changed to toxic nest damage mastery. So it now no longer provides toxic nests with a chance to respawn. Abathur's level 3 talent, Virulent Nests, now provide toxic nests with a 50% chance to respawn when they die. So this is important. So you no longer need to pick up a mastery option to have the toxic nest, to give the toxic nests a chance to respawn, but it's now down to 50% instead of 60%. Abathur's toxic nest damage. Yeah, so the toxic nest will now respawn, but the chance is down to 50% from 60%. The original toxic nest respawn chance mastery was so good that players essentially didn't have a choice but to pick it. As a solution, we took the element that made it feel like a must pick and moved it into the base talent. I think this is actually good. Yeah, base talent means we'll have an option for the other mastery. I can see why they want to change it. Hopefully the resulting mastery will not be on a similar power level to the new Mad Mastery. Mend heal over time changed from 50 health over 15 seconds to 50 health over 10 seconds. This one is a bit weird for me. I don't know. 50 health over 10 seconds. Mend healing mastery replaced with Mend healing duration mastery. Mend healing duration mastery increases the heal over time duration of Mend by 10% per point up to a maximum of 300%. I guess this is the main point. They're increasing the duration of Mend so that players who choose this mastery will have more of a benefit over time. Maybe that's what they want to say. This new mastery will allow Abathur and his allies' forces to stay in combat for an extended duration and improves it in a way that allows for his units with lower HP to benefit. It also encourages planning and spamming Mend with the new mastery won't net you as much of a benefit. Yeah, they're evening out Abathur's masteries. Finally, there's some new mutations coming out, so that's something. That's nice, actually. I've been getting tired of the reruns because I've played them all before, so it's nice to have some new mutations, even though they are the same mutators. For example, this one will have evasive maneuvers and power overwhelming. These are old mutators, but they're new combinations, so it's something new to play with, rather than something that's been done before. But yeah, the biggest changes for Abathur will be his symbiotes. He will no longer have machine guns. Basically, he'll have shotguns. They deal 100%. The mastery will improve the damage by 100%, but the previous ability was 150%. So yeah, they'll be nerfed. And yeah, the toxic nests are pretty big too. The damage output and the biomass output are less, so you'll need a longer time and more toxic nests and more enemy unit kills before you can get your ultimate evolutions. I imagine it'll be more of a chore, but with the biomass merge, this one, the very first one, the biomass pickup merge, I guess it'll be manageable. It will just take longer overall, and you'll need to focus more on controlling your army and macroing up. I guess that's really what Blizzard wants to change. Abathur was focused too heavily on his ultimate evolutions, and Blizzard wants Abathur to have more macro, basically. I think Yeah, I think that's basically what Blizzard wants to change for Abathur. Hope you enjoyed that. This is a different video from what I usually make, but I think it's important to show you how Abathur will change. Hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching. If you have an idea for what also to do, please leave that in a comment. See you.